What happens when a 4th level character leads a group of 1st level characters into battle with a monster that far, far outmuscles them? Some thrilling moments, that's what! The Keep on the Borderlands adventures continue! Roll the opener, Imp!
Yes, I know the drill. Stupid old man thinks I don't know anything.
As always, the action is recreated using the Order of the Stick Monster for Every Season cutout minis. Today's players: Nathaniel as Colin Bush, Lawful Cleric of Elona, level 4. Neil gives Onion Buns Bumblestump a rest for a session and brings in Kuel Noregard, Chaotic Fighter, level 1. And you may know them from the Night Below campaign. Guesting in is Claude as Fenton, Lawful Paladin, and guest player Dave as Morris, Neutral Acrobat. Intrigue at the Keep on the Borderlands is amping up. Colin Bush has returned after a long hiatus with a mission from his church. He has been tasked with recovering the Scepter of Elona from the Hobgoblins. In Colin's previous outings, he was part of various teams that entered a complex known as Raven's Ruin, where a group of marauding hobgoblins was operating. After several incursions, the dwindling hobgoblins realized that the attacks from the humans wouldn't stop, so they packed up and departed, joining the tribes at the Caves of Chaos, and taking over. From the spoils of their time at Raven's Ruin, the hobgoblin chief had claimed the Scepter of Elona, a magical item used by the priests at the temple in the town of Kleina in religious ceremonies, as well as during trials to ascertain the truth of matters, as it compels honesty from anyone touching it. Since then, the hobgoblins have used it to unite the tribes by sussing out dissenters and traitors to form a loyal and strong fighting force. In addition to wanting the precious artifact returned, it is surmised that reclaiming the scepter will lead to the erosion of the unity among the tribes, as they will naturally fall back into treachery and backstabbing when there is no fear of being caught in lies, thus creating a schism at the Caves of Chaos. Sadly, many of Colin's usual, more experienced allies are not available. But a task is a task, and he has with him 3 new faces. Not all is dire, however, as Colin is one of the rare few who has the Castellan's confidence, and the Castellan has promised to provide 12 men-at-arms to the mission. The group discusses tactics and information. News from their friend and ally, Senec Christ, suggests that despite the hobgoblins' use of the scepter, the Minotaur in the caves may yet be turned against the tribes, and though not relevant to the caves, there's also news of a Hydra layered in the region. Colin digs into his personal reserve funds to upgrade the team's gear for the mission. They also seek out further retainers. None are available. Recalling the encounter with the were-rat woman, they also equip with silvered weapons. The chaotic Kuel, despite already having been equipped with plate mail and a spear by Colin, gets upset that the others are given silvered weapons, but Colin won't splurge to get him a silvered spear. He pesters Colin about it, attempting to guilt-trip him, but the young priest is having none of it. The next day, they form up and head to the caves. Using Colin's previous experience with the region, they plan to enter through the Goblin Cave and find the back way into the Hobgoblin lair in order to hopefully catch them off guard with a sneak attack. It has been known for some time now that a hill giant has joined the tribes, in place of the ogre ally that the team had long since killed. After some discussion, they decide it's in their interests to kill the giant first, lest it prove a problem later. Morris sneaks forward to investigate while the rest remain back and hidden. He hears snores coming from inside the cave, but can't see into the dark cave without going in and taking a light source. He returns to the group to report. Deciding to act fast while it's asleep, they light torches and rush the cave in order to catch it off guard. Surprise is rolled to see if the giant awakens. It does, but the DM does grant the team initiative. Seeing a chance of glory and ignoring the very palpable threat of the giant's might, Kuel charges forward before the group can make a plan. The paladin Fenton, seeing his comrade in arms rush forward, immediately charges alongside, as he won't leave an ally to fight against such odds alone. Both men strike devastating blows to the groggy giant, while the others shoot at it, further whittling it down. The giant's morale holds and it counterattacks. The giant's Thaco is 12, with a nasty 2d8 damage, meaning only one hit will potentially kill even the strongest target, that being Colin Bush with 14 hit points. That leaves the level 1 characters in a dire situation indeed. The DM rolls for a target randomly, and the giant rears up to strike Kuel, whose armor class is 2, meaning the giant needs only a 10 to strike. The attack roll is made. A 5! In the next round, they adjust positions so more combatants can get into reach, and another barrage hurts it further, prompting a morale again. Success! This is now a fight to the death. On its turn, it targets Colin Bush. Another 5 is rolled. In the third round, the giant has initiative, and a roll of the dice indicates that it targets Colin Bush yet again. And another miss. The team hits the giant with another barrage of missiles and melee. It's still going. In the fourth round, the team wins initiative. They bombard with blows, but it's still standing. It turns its attention once again to Colin Bush, and I remind you, these are randomly determined rolls, but as it brings its fist down on the cleric, instead of rolling the die, the DM turns the mini down as it collapses to the ground, this final attack being a fake-out by the DM as the team had killed it during their final barrage. Setting some of the soldiers to guard, and to make sure the fight didn't attract any attention, the rest quickly search for treasure, finding a massive hide sack loaded with gold and another with electrum, conveniently separated. It's too heavy to carry with them, but they don't want to leave such an impressive haul, so after confirming that the battle hadn't been noticed by the other tribes, they carried off to the edge of the valley where they'd left Morris's mule and loaded up. They then returned to the caves. Entering the cave once occupied by the goblins, Colin follows the map drawn on one of his previous excursions. He states that if he's correct, the passageway will lead to a reinforced door, a back way into the goblin lair, though it's likely guarded. He remembers this from the last time he was here. There were goblin sentries behind the door, so they need to get through as quickly as possible and neutralize them before an alert can be sounded. En route through the caves, enemies appear behind them. They turn to meet the threat and find a platoon of 12 skeletons advancing. The team forms up at the end of the tunnel to create a bottleneck, while Colin moves into position to turn the undead. Being 4th level, he automatically destroys 1 hit dice undead. A 2d6 roll of 8 annihilates 8 of the skeletons, while missile fire from the team takes out another. The final 3 advance and get some strikes on the front line, but all miss. In the next round, a loss of initiative for the group sees the skeletons attacking again, but missing, and Colin finishes them off with his continued turning. In case you're wondering, the DM here plays that clerics may continue to turn the undead until they fail. In the case of auto-turns and auto-destruction, they just keep going until all enemies are gone, or the cleric is prevented somehow, and must stop. Arriving at the reinforced door that Colin mentioned, they find it closed and locked. In Colin's previous outing, they had battered it down, but it has since been rebuilt. Fenton and Kuel attempt to batter it down, but it's not merely stuck, it's reinforced, so the DM requires an open doors roll, which, if successful, is followed by a saving throw for the door to see if it breaks. The players easily make the open doors check between the warrior and the paladin, 5 and 6, but the DM's save rolls succeed and the door stands fast, ruling that 3 consecutive saves means it's too sturdy and they need to find another way through or get better tools to break it down. Feeling that any sentries would now be alerted, they quickly withdraw and decide to attempt the hobgoblin's front entrance. The front entrance also has a sturdy door, and efforts to bash it in fail. But within moments, Kuel can hear a mechanism opening and orders the others to run. The group sprints to the edge of the valley, then turns around to form a shield wall and archer formation. They watch as hobgoblins emerge from their cave and do the same with military precision. What follows is a ranged battle between the 2 groups, with our heroes' rolls reducing the hobgoblin numbers, while the hobgoblins fail to land any hits. After the first hobgoblin death, the morale holds, but after 4 more are quickly killed in the exchange, a second morale roll fails and the hobgoblins retreat back into their cave. The team briefly considers chasing them and attempting to bash that door in again, but movement from the other cave mouths prompts them to take the gathered loot and return to the keep. Gren the Frowning asks if they were successful, and Colin reports that alas, they weren't able to reclaim the scepter, but they did kill the giant, which will be a boon to future expeditions to the caves. They count their blessings that no one was killed or even injured, pay the excise fee, divide the earnings, Morris earns enough XP to make level 2. The session ends there. Well, that was something unusual. No deaths. Not even a scratch on the PCs. And they fought a hill giant. A contingent of first levels, toe-to-toe with a hill giant. And they won! Marvelous! The hill giant emerged several sessions ago as a result of a random encounter roll, and the DM folded him into the complement of the tribes at the Caves of Chaos, reasoning that the hobgoblins would gladly have such a brute on their side. The presence of the hill giant has actually been a deterrent for some time, as players, knowing that it's there, have avoided the caves. With the giant dispatched, it remains to be seen if expeditions to the caves resume. On the topic of the hobgoblins, the ebb and flow of the campaign has put them squarely as the prominent foe within the Caves of Chaos. This isn't by design of the module, however. As written, they are simply another tribe. But this is where the emergent nature of campaign growth can inform the situation. The failure to capture the hobgoblins at Raven's Ruin prompted the DM to have them retreat to the caves and merge with the tribe. Subsequent incursions to the hobgoblin lair, the butchering of the women and children, for instance, prompted responses. The presence of the Scepter of Elona also made the DM consider its impact within the tribes, leading to reshaping of the hierarchy at the caves. I won't get into too much more detail here, as much is yet to be revealed as players engage, but this is a prime example of why I love the Keep on the Borderlands scenario. The blank slate presented allows for a far more organic story to develop than if the writers had pre-written some elaborate plot. And for DMs, this is exciting too, as not only does the DM get the fun and challenge of adapting and justifying things, but also gets to be a part of an unplanned narrative rather than predetermining the beats. Things are coming to a head. Those skeletons they met are a sign. The priests of Leogzed are active. When will the existing teams finally come together and end the threat? Stay tuned as the Keep on the Borderlands campaign continues. Until then, I bid you anon, my friends.